In episode 2, we see Sophia Falcone envisioning herself in Arkham Asylum being visited by her now deceased brother. She wakes up and it's revealed she's in a therapy session under some type of hypnosis. She's then comforted by her psychiatrist and he tells her she's no longer at Arkham and she's safe. As she begins to leave, she turns around and tells him, "I'm not safe, I'm home." I feel like we're going to get more of Sophia's backstory as the show progresses. It seems like her time at Arkham has really left an impression on her, which explains why she is the way she is today. In this episode, we see our main character Oswald continue to scheme his way to Kingpin status by meeting with the Maronis again and exposing the Falcones' plans to deliver drops to a certain location in the city so the Maronis' crew can steal their supply of drugs. Sal Maroni is hesitant at first, but looks to his wife for her approval and agrees to assist the Penguin with his heist. Despite some hiccups, Oswald manages to pull off this operation successfully with the Maronis' crew. He then convincingly informs the Falcones that the Maronis robbed them, as if he didn't plan this. The Penguin is quite the manipulator. Johnny Vitti fiercely suggests they hit back at the Maronis. Sophia walks in and questions why they're not focusing on avenging her brother's death. Her uncle Luca dismisses her and reminds her she doesn't call the shots. Also, he instructs her to worry about her brother Alberto's funeral. Before she leaves the room, she tells her uncle they clearly have a mole in their crew because there's no way the Maronis could have known about their shipment. Viewing the tension between Sophia and her uncle Luca, Oswald seizes an opportunity to approach Sophia in the halls of the Falcones' luxurious mansion and propositions her for collaboration. She refuses his offer and leaves. Oz meets with his lover, Eve Carlo. She expresses her concerns about him playing a dangerous game with the Falcones and that he's putting her girls at risk. He assures her he has everything under control. Sophia hires a private investigator to find the mole in their crew. Apparently he's a former employee of her dad's and now a drophead. She offers him money and drops for his services. He agrees and tells her he'll let her know what he finds. Oswald visits his mother, and we as the audience learn she's dealing with some type of Alzheimer's, and the Penguin has been paying her landlord to look after her. His landlord informs him that she's getting worse and probably shouldn't be left alone. Oz pays him and dismisses his concerns. He begins to slow dance with his mother, and Victor reminds him they must attend the funeral. They arrive at the funeral. Oswald finds Sophia and begins to bond with her by explaining how he and his mother dealt with the loss of his older brother. Next, we see Sophia and her bodyguard meet with the private investigator at the Falcone mansion. He reveals a body in the back of the trunk. Sophia orders her bodyguard to take the unconscious gentleman to the basement and contact her when he wakes up. Oswald meets with Nadia Maroni. She informs him she's aware that the Falcones have taken one of their men and she wants him back, or she will have him killed. Penguin buys himself some time by showing Nadia photos of Johnny Vitti in bed with Luca Falcone's wife. She keeps the blackmail material and tells him he needs to hurry because the kidnapped man will have a lot to say about him when he wakes up. We cut to Oswald and Victor pulling up to the Falcone's mansion. He makes his way through the weight gathering and discovers Sophia is holding the informant in the basement. He creates a distraction so her bodyguard is no longer able to guard the door. The Penguin enters the room, wakes the unconscious man by slapping him, and instructs him to say Johnny Vitti is the rat. Victor calls and informs Oz that he was unable to successfully plant the jewelry and was caught. Oswald acts quickly and decides to kill the captured Maroni crew member and flees from the room. Luca, Sophia, and her bodyguard enter the room and discover the Maroni man has been killed. Sophia looks at her uncle and says, "I told you it's someone on the inside." Her uncle storms out of the room and orders that every man present be searched by security. Oswald is lined up with the rest of the men and Luca informs everyone they're looking for a knife. Penguin thinks on his feet, starts a fight with Johnny Vitti, and plants his knife on Sophia's bodyguard, Castillo. The pocket knife was discovered in Castillo's pocket, and with a look of confusion on his face, he exclaims, "That's not mine!" Sophia tells her uncle Luca, "Give me your gun," twice. Castillo pleads with Sophia and tells her, "I've been nothing but loyal to you." Before he could say anything else, Luca Falcone shot a bullet in his head. Sophia tells her uncle, "He was mine to handle." Now we see the Penguin talking to Victor while he's digging the grave for Castillo and the Maroni crew members' bodies. Before Victor climbs his way up, Oswald pushes him back into the grave and tells him, "Lay down where you belong." and begins to lecture him about his mistakes will lead to his death. He tells Victor, "I had to plant the knife and the jewels. Your mistakes create more work for me." He further explains to Victor that he must be quick and think on his feet and be prepared to switch up the plans to get the job done. Afterwards, he pulls Victor out of the grave. Oz clearly has a soft spot for Victor. Lastly, we see him meet with Sophia Falcone at the burial site of her parents. She tells him that she's tired of old men trying to push her out of the business. She looks at Oswald and tells him she plans to take everything away from them. She asks if he would join her. Oswald smiles and simply responds, "Let's dance." He clearly is proud that he's met his goal and caused division within the remaining Falcone family members. This was another good episode. It wasted no time moving the story along, and we learned a bit more about Sophia and other characters in this episode. Visually, it is consistent with the previous episode. Also, it was well written. We ended the episode with the Penguin being one step closer to executing his plans to become the kingpin of Gotham. I'll rate this episode a B+. If you like this review, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.